If the Florida Gators are going to dominate the USF Bulls on Saturday, here's how they do it.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI and swampsignal.substack.com. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here. Visit the FanDuel app today and start placing your future bets now. And the Florida Gators take on the USF Bulls tomorrow. At the time of recording this, they are 17.5-point favorites, opened at 19-point favorites. That line has shrunk for whatever reason, right? Maybe people putting money on USF, whatever that may be. But when that game kicks off, Florida should dominate it. Just want to make that one abundantly clear. And the way that you do it is by running the damn Baugh. Simple as that. Jadan Baugh and Jacoby Jackson need to have as many carries as possible. I understand that does mean not dropping back and throwing the ball 45 times with DJ Lagway. But I care more about dominating this win than anything else. And look, DJ Lagway will get his dropbacks. I would imagine after Saturday's performance against Long Island, a lot of practice time is going towards perfecting some things and developing in some areas. I'll say, yeah, offensive line had their fair share of struggles in pass protection. I thought they were fairly good in the run game. And then DJ Lagway is part of the reason for those pass protection issues. In the sense where, PFF does this thing where they say how many pressures a quarterback is responsible for. So if you're pressured 10 times, and 6 of them are because you hold the ball too long, that's 60% of your pressures. DJ Lagway was at least partially responsible for almost all of his pressures, at least partially, because he held the ball too long oftentimes. And there were a couple of times he tried to take off and got caught up there. So it's not that the offensive line struggled. It's a combination of everything, right? Where they didn't struggle was running the football. Jadan Baugh, Jacoby Jackson, give him as many carries as possible, and you'll dominate this game. And then you can screw around and do any passing plays you want and work on their straight drop back passing there. Like Cole Kubelik. I apologize if that's not how you pronounce his name. But like he mentioned, straight drop back passing might help DJ Lagway. It just might, instead of always having to do the play action. Again, I'm not saying to get rid of play action, but instead of always having to do play action, that might be a benefit. But I also think that just in general, football is about exploiting your opponent's weaknesses, right? Like, yeah, part of it is just doing what you're good at, but another part of it is exploiting your opponent's weaknesses. I'm a big fan of if you've got an alpha receiver and they've got a soft corner out there, I don't care if he's open or not. Give him the football. Like let him do his thing. And so when you talk about exploiting opponents' weaknesses, we mentioned yesterday that South Florida is a fairly light defense. They're either tall and skinny or tall and lean, I'll say, or short and stout, right? And a lot more of the taller and leaner side specifically. USF against Boise State had a 25% missed tackle rate last week. Okay. 25% missed tackle rate. They had 19 missed tackles against Boise State. And I don't mean this to insult Boise State or USF. Boise State does not have Ashton Jeanty anymore. Okay, there's a pretty big difference now between that talent, but also I've mentioned this with DJ Douglas. I've mentioned this with Michael Caraway Jr. that you don't get better at tackling when you go from the group of 5 to a power 4 opponent. Like that was my big concern with DJ Douglas coming out of Tulane, was that he had a very high missed tackle rate, and that can carry over. Okay. Like that can carry over to the SEC and get worse, because when you're getting juked out or ran by a group of 5 athletes, and then you go to the best college athletes around, that makes it a lot more difficult to actually find success consistently there. So I think that that's a big part of it, is missed tackle rate isn't something that generally improves when you go to a higher level. USF is a group of 5 team, and against what should be considered relatively equal talent at the other group of 5 level. I know Mountain West to the American is different. USF is receiving votes now. Boise State was ranked. When you are talking about group of 5 to the SEC, or group of 5 to Power 4 in general, but then group of 5 to the SEC is an even bigger jump on average. It's very rare to all of a sudden clean that up, right? And look, maybe the real reason for USF's missed tackles were first game jitters, right? And maybe it was first game jitters. Maybe it was, hey, we had this issue. Let's clean it up. Let's clear it up. Let's get better. Like, it's possible that they go out there and don't miss a single freaking tackle. It's possible. Not likely, but possible. But USF showed last week that they're going to have some tackling consistency issues. Florida needs to go out there and attack those consistency issues, or attack those tackling issues, because you are the better football team. You've got 2 running backs that, like, look, Jadan Baugh last week against Long Island, there were a lot of guys who didn't really look like they were playing their hardest. Still dominating, but didn't really look like they were playing their hardest. Jadan Baugh, not one of them. He looked like he was out there hustling for every inch, every yard. He was trucking, stiff arming. He was doing everything. There was one point where he stiff armed someone to the ground, was running out of bounds, got pushed a little bit, and almost trucked Rob Sale on the sideline. Like Jadan Baugh was out there catching bodies. He's not going to slow down against USF. So I look at Jadan Baugh as saying, hey, you got USF on the schedule. They struggle tackling. Take them out. And so Jadan Baugh is a big part there. Jacoby Jackson as well. I think Jacoby Jackson, he had his fumble last week against Long Island. That really was just it just happened. But I do think that because of that, you're going to be looking at this week and say, all right, like I need to improve. This isn't the first time that Florida's had someone fumble against an FCS team. This isn't the first time that Florida's had someone, not have a great week 1. This isn't the first time Florida's had someone fumble early on in the season and then bounce back. Trevor Etienne did it. Montrell Johnson did it. Jadan Baugh did it. Like everybody's done it at this point. Doesn't matter about anything. Like, just Jadan Baugh is going to get back out there. Jacoby Jackson's going to get back out there, and they should both feast tomorrow against USF, and they should absolutely dominate this game on the ground. Like, Jadan Baugh should go over 100 yards once again in this game against USF. We are going to talk about, I think, the biggest defensive talking point for this game when we get back with Locked On Gators. It is almost the weekend, so it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash, of course. And we spoke about this the other day, where just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order, players deliver when it matters most, right? And some guy that I mentioned yesterday, who I'm going to mention again today because I think that he deserves it, and there hasn't really been things that have changed it, Garrett Nussmeier. The way that he operated at the line of scrimmage against Clemson last week, the way that he functioned when things were getting pretty rough at certain points, the way he just stood tall and managed it. And I'm not a big Garrett Nussmeier fan to begin with. I just thought he played one hell of a game, right? So for the team of the week, or for the player of the week here that delivered in a big way, it's going to be Garrett Nussmeier. And just like Garrett Nussmeier delivered for the LSU Tigers, DoorDash delivers on your Saturdays. With DoorDash streaks, you save every Saturday that you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time that they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out, right? They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. As an athlete focuses on every detail, Mazda does the same, from metallic accents to hand-stitched Napa leather. You can feel it the moment you get behind the wheel. The smooth handling, intuitive controls, and standard all-wheel drive in every crossover SUV. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And when we talk about the defensive side of the ball, the biggest key, I think, for Florida is dominating on the interior. The rest of the day, we're going to talk about defense mostly. But dominating on the interior is vitally important to dominating this game and just winning this game in general, but specifically dominating this game. I spoke yesterday pretty extensively about the similarities. Again, just stylistically, obviously talent is way different when you compare USF to Tennessee or USF to Florida or almost any other SEC team. But stylistically, sure, very different. Or stylistically very similar, talent-wise, very different. So stylistically, the way that this offense works is spreading defenses out, making them go light in the box, and then trying to attack them with whatever they give you, right? If they give you a light box, then attack that. If they give you space between the receivers and the offensive line, then hit the slant, hit the bubble, hit whatever you're going to hit, and just get quick hits and run. Things like that. If they press, you're going to run switch verticals, and you're going to try to create big plays there, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But look at every game for the Florida Gators since Billy Napier got to Gainesville, right? Not since Josh Heupel got to Tennessee, but since Billy Napier got to Gainesville. Look at every game for the Florida Gators against Tennessee. And there's a pretty consistent sign, right? If the nose tackle is winning his battle on the interior, then the defense typically holds up pretty well. And we've seen them, attack in different ways. You had the Austin Armstrong way was if a running back goes out in motion to either side, the edge on that side is going to go in motion with him and work there, because then when they go in motion, they oftentimes like to throw that screen. And so the edge will go out in motion with him. That was, I remember seeing Princely Omamielin doing a lot. We saw George Gums do it. It's what happens very frequently against that defense. It's a great way to stop them, right? Because now when they throw that screen, that means that you've got a receiver blocking an edge, and that's not often going to go well for the receiver. But every time, no matter what the difference in approach was, the nose tackle is a guy that is usually a very strong indicator for how that game's going to go defensively. And Cam Jackson's been a sign, right? Like Cam Jackson is someone that I spoke about a lot. That first Tennessee game or not first Tennessee game, but that Tennessee game in 2023, Cam Jackson's first Tennessee game, Cam Jackson dominated. That was a game where during the pre-draft process of the 2025 NFL draft, people were still talking about that 2023 performance against Tennessee by Cam Jackson, because that was as good as nose tackle play gets. They were doubling him every play. Some plays they were triple teaming him. And all you have to do is be able to consistently hold your ground, gain a little bit. You can make plays, but the important part there is holding your ground no matter how many people they throw at you. Allowing other people the opportunities. It's completely selfless. It's very rare that you're going to get that credit. Don't worry, Cam. I'll give you that credit. But that's been a big telltale sign for if this defense is going to work out, if this defense is going to have a good day. That's usually the indicator. If you can have a nose tackle that can overtake that game, or I guess take over would be the better way to put that, right? If you have a nose tackle that could take over that game at the point of attack on the interior, it's really difficult to get that offense going. Again, because they're going to pull players, they're going to try to just attack in every way possible. But if you're just there occupying space, that causes the run to first off not go to the interior, right? You got to bounce out in some way and hope people can crash down. But you're going to have linebackers in the area. You're going to have edge rushers in the area that are all willing and able to defend. And you're already more physically talented than this other team. Nose tackle sends it, right? This is going to be the first time that Jamari Lyons will hold that responsibility. Like, this is going to be the first time in his career that he's been relied upon to have that responsibility for an entire game. Like that's it. Because 2024, he wasn't healthy, right? 2024, he missed the whole season with injury that happened right before the season. It was, I mean, just brutal. Honestly, it was just a brutal injury to see. 2023, he played, but not a very significant role. And in 2023, Cam Jackson played more of those snaps, dominated. Jamari played decently against Tennessee the time he did in 2023. It just wasn't as significant a role as we saw from Cam. And so I think this is going to be the first time that we truly see Jamari Lyons play in that role as the guy. Because even in 2023, when he was out there, he wasn't the guy that was going to be out there occupying space and defending the run and trying to really just dismantle that offensive game plan. Whereas this year, you're going to have Jamari Lyons do it. You're going to have Mekhi Boye-Rowe do it, who he was part of the game plan last year. Joseph Mbachu is going to be out there doing it. You've got guys that are going to be able to go in there and really attack this USF offense. Again, like I keep bringing up the Tennessee games, but this is lower competition than the Tennessee games. So this is going to be a great test to see if you could do it. If you can't do it, Tennessee's probably going to attack the crap out of you when they do play. And if you can do it, Tennessee's probably going to start game planning about how they can get around that. In which case, you're already impacting the game months in advance there. So Florida's defense on the interior, that's going to be the focus. Overall, there's an important mindset that you have to have against USF, especially as the big favorite. We'll talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. Hey, Locked On Gators fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop it. Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code football and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up so you can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas that you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes they were going to make anyway, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code football for a limited 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code football. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. And football season is here. The NFL is active now, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer, right? Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Bet it on who's going to score touchdowns this weekend. Bet it on who's going to get a sack this weekend. Last year, I made a ton of money betting on it was Caleb Williams to get sacked 5 or more times in a game. It was beautiful. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. It's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, representing the podcast and on YouTube. And to wrap up today's show, we've spoken about how defensively you kind of win up front, right? It's built around the nose tackle doing his job, attacking, exploiting, and pretty much just dominating at the point of attack. And again, that is how Florida has attacked Tennessee. Now you're attacking South Florida, a much lower level of competition there compared to the SEC. Again, not that they're not good at football. They're still very good at football, but they're not the SEC. They are low level SEC at the absolute best. And even then, I don't think that's true. I'm just trying to be nice there. But outside of winning at the point of attack on the interior, you need to limit explosives. This is an offense that, again, they're looking to spread you out and attack you in multiple different ways. When they want to go with their switch verticals, they're just going to try to run your DBs into each other and create big plays. They're going to try to cause miscommunication and create big plays. They're an offense that is built on exploiting every blade of grass on the field, on just creating space, and then taking deep shots or using the screen game to create yards after the catch opportunities. That's what they do. Look at the offense for Tennessee and look at the offense for USF. And that's the plan so often is, well, this is how we're going to attack them. This is what we're going to do. We're going to cause them to run into each other. Again, with the switch verticals that I hate, by the way. I can't stand switch verticals. I think it's I think it's a clown attack. I think it makes no sense. I think it's very stupid. And I hate it. And so there's that. But you look at USF against Boise State last week, 37.5% of Byrum Brown's passes were behind the line of scrimmage. 37.5. And he had another 42% of his passes that were less than 10 yards. And a bunch of them were like a yard or two downfield, barely past the line of scrimmage. It was all about taking what's underneath, creating yards after the catch opportunity, or taking a deep shot when it's available. So the passing game, that's what it's built on. Easy completions underneath, making defensive backs come up and make tackles. USF had 255 receiving yards last week. 155 of them came after the catch. That was it. That was their attack. They're looking to make you make tackles on the perimeter. Guys like Cormani McClain, who Billy Napier pointed out, needs to tackle better, needs to communicate better. He's got to have a big game. Just in terms of you got to do those things right. Cormani McClain's got to do those things right. You could talk about guys like Devin Moore coming up to make tackles, Dijon Johnson coming up to make tackles, Sharif Denson, anybody in the secondary. You got to come up to make tackles, but you also have to have your wit about you for where you need to be looking for where's the next receiver coming from. Is Switchford's, wheel post coming up and that's where they're going for you? Like, they're going to come at you in a bunch of different ways. You got to be able to come up and make tackles on the perimeter, but you've also got to be able to hang in coverage downfield. And so that's why this is an offense that's built on saying, hey, if you're not going to come up and make these tackles, we're going to keep taking them. And if you are going to come up and make these tackles, we're going to make you cover downfield. And once we start attacking downfield, guess what? You're going to have to come back up and make some more tackles, and you're probably going to be a bit tired from running deep downfield. We're going to go up tempo. We're going to attack you in these different ways. It's nonsensical. It's a Mickey Mouse offense. I say it all the time. I hate it, honestly. It's incredibly productive. It's incredibly effective, but I hate it. Then USF specifically uses Byrum Brown. He's creative with his legs, whether that's scrambling, as in if he's supposed to be drop back passing, and then he just takes off running if it's not there, or if it's on the designed run game, the RPO, whatever it may be, they're going to attack. Byrum Brown last week had 10 carries for 70 yards against Boise State. Wasn't a huge game for him there. Last year against Alabama, he had 126 rushing yards. Last year against Miami, he had 41, but he was banged up. He's known to attack. He's at 100 plus rushing yards against Alabama both times he played them. Like he's done that. He's an 1,000-yard rusher in one season as a quarterback. Incredibly dynamic with his legs. So you can't let him get going. I mean, we've seen the highlight, right? It was, I think, a hold, pulled it back, but he was breaking tackles and making big plays. Like Byrum Brown is incredibly dynamic with his legs. Their receivers aren't as dynamic, but they are still good enough to get the ball going and move downfield and create plays. It's about limiting explosives. That's what you got to do. Like that's really it. If you limit explosives, this isn't the kind of offense that's usually known for just first down, these big extended drives. That's not what they're known for doing. They're trying to create big plays. There's not this crazy story or crazy strategy of what you have to do. It's just on the interior, win there, Tennessee is more built on sustaining drives, right? Because they are an SEC team. They've got an SEC offensive line. They're willing to go to battle and go to war all the time. Sure. USF, not so much. USF is built on saying, hey, we're going to try to create these explosive plays. Our guy that's going to pick up these tough yards for us is our quarterback. And that's how we're going to attack opposing teams. That's not exactly a winning strategy, especially as an underdog. It's just not. Just because if you can't have a sustained drive at all, it's tough. You can get an explosive play here or there. But when your defense probably isn't going to be able to stop the opposing team's offense, you can't be strictly reliant on explosive plays without having elite athletes all over the place. And they don't. They've got good athletes all over the place, but not elite, not better athletes in Florida. It's tough. It's going to be very tough for USF to hang and bang here. They can make this one a game. There's a reason to spread 17 and not, 45 like it was against Long Island. But I don't know. It's just really tough. And for a Florida team that has experience defending this kind of offense, I do think Florida has a big advantage there. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free. Everything's in the podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow after the game against USF. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI and swampsignal.substack.com. And I will see you all tomorrow.